90% of all issues can be resolved if you manage people's expectations. And I remember taking that in.
It's another Emmanuelism.
Oh, listen.
We're gonna chat, you and I.
And so I remember I had just started in my role. And I remember taking that, like there was a lot going on that day and there was a lot I didn't pay attention to, but that really stuck with me. And I took on this new position and every day that was my motto. And every time I dealt with a client and every time I dealt with a new account, a new physician, a new whoever, it was always going to be about managing their expectations from the get-go.
Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. Join us as we chat, sip, banter, and wine with the best in the biz. Grab a glass of your favorite vino, sit back, relax, and let's wine together. Welcome, everybody, to the show. My name is Sarah Biernbaum. Our show is called Stop Whining About Real Estate. I am here with my co-host, Emmanuel Germain, and we have our guest today. Her name is also Sarah Galperin, and she is a principal agent here at Compass in Boca Raton. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you, guys. I'm very excited to be here and a little nervous. I'm not going to lie.
Don't be nervous.
Nothing to be nervous about. Watch. I'll kick it off. You simply make fun of simple Sarah. That gets everything going. The juices start flowing. I don't know if you can see Sarah's pants because they might match the green screen behind us, but those are unbelievable.
Aren't they great?
They're
I do
gorgeous.
love this color.
I love it.
And your crushed velvet.
Go ahead. Bring it. That gets a ton of compliments, by the way. Thank you.
It does. I was the first to compliment it, actually.
I want the same thing in red for Christmas
I know. Red
time.
for the holiday party.
Yes.
Yes. You've
So
said that
hard
for
to
3
find.
years.
And you need to have it with a pipe. I can see you here smoking it with a pipe.
But it's not hard to find. We know where it is. You have to go to Palm Beach. You just have to drive up there and go shopping.
Trust me, I've gone. I called Polo.
Okay.
They don't have it.
You can't
I gotta
special
try
order
and
it?
find it. I don't know. It's maybe one of our listeners will be so nice to send it to me, like
they
my
sent
Dr.
you
Mortgage
scrubs?
outfit.
Yeah, so
literally. Have you seen this? Have you seen? I know you haven't seen our stuff, but somebody sent me Dr. Mortgage scrubs.
Oh,
they
awesome.
actually say like Dr. Mortgage.
Well, it didn't just like they didn't create it. He created the nickname for himself.
Okay.
He came on the show and
We
he's
don't know
like,
who sent it.
He's like, I'm the doctor of mortgages. If you want to deal with the best, you deal with the surgeon, the top surgeon of the hospital. That's me. I'm Dr. Mortgage. And he went on this whole
I said it way more
thing.
humbly than that.
And somebody sent scrubs in the mail to this office. They say Dr. Mortgage on them, and he wears them around the office sometimes. And I'm like, somebody needs to stop him.
So then I bought the rubber gloves.
Okay.
And then I bought the skull, the whatever
Hat.
the hat that they wear
It's called
in
the
surgery.
bonnet, I think.
What?
Bonnet.
Is it? I don't know. So the
It's not. I just wanted
my
to
nurse
look.
gives it to me. I don't know what it's called. So I just put it on.
This is an entirely different show.
So, but then we have fun with it. And so anyway, so we come in here and we've got a young intern, social media, who's kicking butt.
She
that's
really
awesome.
is.
And yeah, like we were just saying, we got a video going viral right now, which is pretty funny. But we're not here to talk about us. We talk about us all the time. We're here to talk about you. So where would you like to start? What decade do we want to start this
here we go.
interrogation?
No. I do want to touch on social media, though, because you do a really good job with social media. You have a really good amount of followers, and you're very I look at a lot of agents' social media.
Okay.
A lot of it is like drone videos, listings, like the whole thing, which is great. And I understand that there's a purpose for it. But you do stuff that's like very intentional for your target audience. And I know that sounds very obvious, but I think a lot of people miss the mark, or they don't know who their target audience is. They're just kind of casting a wide net and they're hoping that they capture somebody. You do a really good job of keeping it very informative. And I love that, which I think, congratulations, you're doing a great job with it. But I think also it kind of brings us to what you do specifically, which is work with people that are relocating. So you're giving them a lot of facts on Florida.
Right.
And it's not just like, hey, we have alligators and sunshine and beaches. It's like, here's some college programs, and here's what you should look for, and here's some things that you might not know, which I think is awesome. So how did you come up with all those ideas?
I mean, a lot of scrolling in YouTube. No. the thing is, I relocated myself 5 years ago. And I remember I was not an agent at the time. And I had found an agent on Facebook, and I'd come here and I looked at a few homes. And I remember asking this person, very basic questions because I was coming from LA and I was here in Florida.
This is right before COVID?
It was right in the beginning. It was like 2020.
Great timing for you.
It was. And I actually missed the boat on a great home because we were too scared. But that's okay. That's for another time.
I think we all wish we could have pre-COVID prices again, but.
Yeah. And so I remember walking to a house that was like, 6,000 square feet and asking the agent because, in California, it's very different, right? Like, it is very expensive to heat your home, to air condition your home, all these things. And I would ask her, like, how much does it cost? What would my AC bill be in this home? Or what are the property taxes? And she kept saying to me, that's a really good question. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. And I was like, you should really do your homework. You knew I was coming. You knew where I was coming from. Like, you set up these tours of these homes. You would think you would have gotten at least the basics of what the property taxes would be.
Oh, for sure.
For me.
That for sure. Is AC bill something that a buyer's agent would typically know?
I mean, I think you should know rough numbers. Funny enough,
I would say just a maintenance cost. Like, hey, the maintenance on this house is around about X between the pool, landscape, basic utilities. No?
I don't know.
I think they should. I do. I always know that. And I know it so well to this point that when my clients ask me off the cuff and I'm still waiting for the other agent to get back to me with that information, which, by the way, as a listing agent, they should know. But, while they're getting that information, I already know.
Right.
I know based on the home that I own, and I can gauge based on what I'm paying.
Right.
And so I think it is helpful because a lot of people are dealing with a set budget or they have a spreadsheet that they're working with and they want to figure out what they could afford.
Right.
And these are costs. Like, in California, it could cost me during the summer like $2,000 for the AC bill. Right? That's why everyone had solars. So I had a 3,000 square foot home. So when I walk into a 6,000 square foot home,
You're going, oh my God.
I was like, what does it cost for this?
$10,000.
Do you give a budget do you give like in a spreadsheet to your buyers?
I mean, they have their own spreadsheet, but I actually give them a sheet of like vendors on a nice spreadsheet of like, here are people for, HVAC, lawn, this and that. Like when it's part of like a relocation package that I give
But I think
them.
that's super useful because they're coming here again. They know nothing and they know no one.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
I only asked about the budget.
Yeah.
I've never had a single client want to show me their budget or go over that. And like
it wouldn't be with you.
Why not? Mine is the largest of all the bills in there.
Yes, totally. But they're going to feel more comfortable with the agent because they've been working with them day to day, and they're talking about. I think they're more.
I mean, I think they would ask me because we're touring a specific home. Do you know how much this house costs? I do get a lot of clients ask me, can you find out how much they're paying for their water bill, their electricity and gas? So that is a frequent question I get from clients asking me. And sometimes I even list it. When I'm listing a home, I will list all of that so people know, so they don't have to ask me.
Yeah.
So they
you
can
list
start
the
there.
HOA, why not?
Exactly.
But even as a buyer's agent, then, if a lot of people are asking you, I would be proactive and force that exercise on everybody.
Right.
I think it's a way more professional real estate agent than the majority of agents that are doing transactions.
Right.
But I think that gives you a great opportunity to stand out.
100%.
I would be uber impressed if my agent said, hey, all right, so just real quick,
here are the numbers on this house.
Here's some breakdown of some of the additional expenses. $100,000 is $665 for every for every $100,000 you want to finance on here. Taxes, insurance about this. Like, give me a call. Just the value add that you're putting for people, because I think most people don't think of all the other expenses.
So, going back to what I do, value add, that's a very good point, is what I want to provide.
Right.
When I started this journey as a real estate agent, I don't think I would have ever done this had I known how many real estate agents there are in the state of Florida, very much so in South Florida.
Yeah.
And I knew that I needed to set myself apart. And so to do that, everyone can lower their price, everyone can give this and that, but that's not really what's going to make you set yourself apart. This is not a transactional business. This is a relationship business. And for that to happen, you need to add value. And to add value, you need to think 3 steps ahead for people. And sometimes, you know, you could step on people's toes. That is like a fine dance I have to learn not to do, because I'm always trying to think, okay, this is their budget. This is what's going on in their lives. I know in a couple of years they're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. You know, I want to let them know all these things to a point where it's a detriment, where I can talk them out of a home because I know it's not the right home for them.
Yeah, but I think that makes you valuable.
It does. It does. And I don't mind. I don't mind doing this because I know in the end, they will trust me and they will want to work with me no matter what, because they know that I have their best interest.
I think that's important.
I think
you paused.
The issue, well, no, because I understand 100% of everything she's saying.
Because I think you do the same on your end.
I think the issue is the issue is that most people are financially not in a position to be able to lose a transaction, so their honesty goes away. The extra added value goes. I don't want to say honesty. That's the wrong way. It's not to say that the person is lying, but the additional sharing of information, of opinion,
I agree.
Or foresight
that may blow up the deal, may get withheld because they're not doing enough transactions, and they need the money for that closing. And you know, we've always kind of, you know, I've always told you in terms of in negotiations, the negotiation is he who cares least will always win, right? And so for me, like, that is the point. And yes, to your point, like I'm thinking like you, I don't care about the transaction. I care about my relationship with my real estate partner and the consumer, you know, obviously, and making sure that we're doing right by the consumer. But if it's not this, it's the next one. Right. It's okay. Let's take care and let's do the right thing first. But we're not fiduciaries at the same time. Right. So I still have my other job in Los Angeles, it has helped me keep that sort of relationship with LA and potential clients and buyers. So I fly back every 6 weeks. And one of the reasons why I keep it is for this reason alone. You're talking about a real estate agent also there, or a different type of job? I'm a business development. Gotcha, okay. I was doing that for 13 years in healthcare. Okay. And wow, so, do we have anything we can teach Simple Sarah?
I'm
Medicare and private insurance patients.
Here's what happens. I'm always open to learn. So if Simple Sarah needs to jump on a plane with Sarah and go to LA and learn the ropes of business development and what she does and take some nuggets back, we can go to LA together. No problem.
Say, as long as it's a business. Why go all the way to LA when we could have it right here on the podcast? Look at that. I saved you both money.
Make learning fun.
Honestly, in every business, in sales, be it a realtor, be it business development, whatever it is, it's always about relationships. And 100%. It's always trying to figure out what is the pain point that you need to solve for someone. Wow. And how you need to do it in a way that they don't realize that you're doing it for them. That is the key to any business.
I'm laughing because Emmanuel...
It's like you read my biography over here.
Oh, God, could you imagine? Emmanuel always says...
You and I are very, very
the key to sales is a lot of figuring out what the problem is and figuring out a way to solve it. It's not pushing an item or an idea or a thought or something down somebody's throat. It's figuring out what their issue is, figuring out their pain point, and he actually says that word all the time. And then being able to solve it.
It's literally for anything.
But it's for anything.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't even have to, like, I went to the vet yesterday. My dog had to get a little procedure done. And, like,
she got a new nose.
I'm telling you, like, it doesn't matter. She's not from Boca.
Very LA.
I just said she's not from Boca. So so we had so you go there and, like, it's just, I can pick apart a business and all the things they do wrong and, like, just in their process. And I'm there as an example, and she's like giving me a bill. I'm like, about an itemization. Like, I have no clue what you're asking. Exactly. You're asking for $1,238 and whatever it is. I'm like, okay, fine, but send me, like, what did I just pay for it? And it's just tiny little things. And then they're like, this is my own stupidity, but I didn't realize she had a couple little things removed, and I didn't realize she was going to have a cone on her head for 2 weeks. And meanwhile, like, I've got vacation plans this weekend. Like, I would have had her little surgery done next week. Like, little things where my expectations weren't set. Now, I understand that's 100% my fault. I could have asked more questions. I should have done this. But it's those little things that make a difference in terms of, you know, like, would I recommend my vet? I don't know. I can't tell if I'm being sold or not.
Right.
I don't know, you know, like, and I feel like for an animal, like, because they ask me, well, it's up to you. We can do this one too if you want. I'm like, is it preserving my dog's life?
Right.
If, you know, like, I get you're a business, but like, I don't trust you.
Right.
And that's not like, I don't like it.
Well, I think
know,
the lack
like-
of the itemization is a huge part too.
What's
Yeah.
that?
The lack of the itemization
No,
is a
they
huge part.
had it the second, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's just, but my point is, that's how a business, like, when you have a business and like there's one vet who's really nice, the other I don't love as much. Then the disconnect, like you have a 5 or 6 or 8 man team.
Right.
Like, it starts with the top. It's just like a restaurant.
Surgeon.
It's just like a restaurant. But I've used this example.
Mortgage.
Go to a restaurant
Right.
and look at the difference when there's a 16-year-old that greets you at the door. That experience is going to be way different than when you walk in and there's a manager of the restaurant that greets you.
100%.
And like the amount of referrals and everything else that you get and all of that stuff. So I love that you're a problem solver. Love that you're a relationship person. Why did you choose real estate as opposed to any other sale when you came here? Because the real estate piece is new to here.
It is new.
Right?
It is new. So I had always wanted to do this in LA, but you know, when you're sort of stuck doing the same thing over and over again, you're like, oh, why am I going to do this? There's no reason. And we come here, and you know, my boss always taught me that it's always easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. So I sort of moved here without telling
Learning
them.
that one.
And so
No, I disagree with them. You know who likes that one?
so I sort of moved here, and it was going to be for 6 months. And then we decided we were just going to stay. And I did not think I was going to keep my job. I was like, there was no way I was going to keep this position. And how am I going to fly back and forth? And so I really started to think, what am I going to do? I was 42 at the time. And I'm like, I cannot go work for someone. Like, I'm not going to do that now after all
Right.
these years of sort of running my own show. And so I'm like, look, if I'm going to start something new and I'm going to, take time away from my family, I got to do something that I love. Because as you know, you're only going to succeed if you do something you truly, truly love.
1,000%.
And so we had done several real estate transactions in LA where we had bought, we had flipped, we had, gotten our first home, we had short sold a home, we had, gotten our forever home. And so I had gone through many stages in terms of purchasing a home. And I felt I had real value to add to someone. And I wanted to do this. So I got my license. And I thought originally it was going to be like I was just going to hang my license with someone and just do something here and there. But that's not my personality. Whenever I do something, I have to do it all the way. And I really loved it. I truly loved it. This is my 3rd year. I've done $45 million in sales. And
That's awesome.
a lot of it really has to, and it's all word of mouth. I mean, it's not like, as much as I love my social media content, it's not like it gets me, clients. But what it does is it builds a fan base. It builds people realizing that I'm serious, I'm in
builds
it.
a rapport
and
for you.
then, they refer me people. And that's been great. It's all been referrals. And I truly, truly love it. And because I have my other job, I'm a little selective, right? Like if I don't want to work with someone, I won't. I'll say, you know what, I don't think I'm a right fit for you, because I really do go all in. And I only take a few clients at a time because I do want to provide that service, because I don't want something to last 6 months. I don't want it to take 6 months for me to find you a home. If I can't find you a home within 30 days, I'm not the right agent for you.
Right.
I also don't want it to take, 90 days to sell a home. Like, I think if you're priced correctly and you do the right things, you can sell a home today, regardless of the market.
Right.
And so,
There's one caveat you said. Price correctly.
Yes, price corrected. Yes, I did say that.
I think that's one of the, I love what's going on in real estate right now, because it's forcing professionalism out of everybody.
Right.
The loan officers who don't know how to sell rates that are 7% and don't know how to get into the non-QM space because there's so fewer transactions that a lot of the harder transactions are the ones that people are getting. And so that's what we have to learn how to do.
Right.
So the loan officers who don't have the ability to close on those more difficult ones are bye-bye, going to get out of the industry. And same thing for the real estate
100%.
agents. And so it's, if you're the days of taking a listing and putting a lockbox and, okay, see ya, and, you don't have to do anything and the house sells itself in 3 hours, like that's gone.
Yeah.
And it requires effort as a listing agent and as a buying agent. And so like, I love it. I think it's good for the industry in general. Like obviously it stinks for all of us not making as much money as we want to make.
Right.
But beyond that, minor detail, that tiny little detail.
Everybody has to step up their game.
But it's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity, like for people to rise to the occasion.
Right.
But, as you said, the issue is price corrected. Everyone still thinks it's 2021 and those are where they are with their prices.
Yep.
And then, buyers think it's 2008 and they can get homes for, what it was back then. And so it's somewhere in the middle that you need to meet with people. And, that can be difficult conversations to have. The other issue is like, I truly believe that to create generational wealth, you need to have properties. And if you can afford to keep a property, you should.
Yeah.
You absolutely should. And,
She's like your twin.
You really are. I say the same thing. You should never sell real estate
you
unless
should
you
never
have to.
sell real estate.
The only time is if you need the money for the down payment
Exactly.
for whatever your other house is. But yeah.
And if you can't, and if you can have it covered, even if it doesn't make you a ton of money, it's still an asset.
100%.
You will never lose that asset. And so for me, I go into every listing or whatnot, and I really try to see what the situation is. And if they can really afford to keep it, I'll be honest. I'll tell them, I think you should keep it. I don't think there's a reason. And the reason why I do this is because I had a relative who was selling a home, and she was using an agent who ended up selling a home to buy another home. And I remember asking her, why are you selling the home? You bought it for nothing. Why don't you just rent it out? This was before I was an agent. And she's like, no, I don't need to. I don't want it. I don't want to be a landlord. I just want to get rid of it. And so she bought this other home. And the person who bought her home ended up renting it out. And they rented it out for like $15,000 a month. She could have been cleaning $11,000 clean a month for 3 years.
That's crazy.
And then she was like, my agent didn't tell me to keep it. They just wanted me to sell it. I'm like, I am not your agent. I told you to keep it. You didn't listen.
I'm family.
Don't blame the agent. And so that always stuck in my head. I was like, the agent or the lender is going to be the first one they're going to blame.
Of course.
When something goes wrong.
Of course.
Always. So you have to lay everything out for people so that there's no doubt that you were doing it just to make a buck.
Yeah.
Don't you think the market right now is tough for investment properties?
Oh, yeah.
It's just hard to. I talked to somebody that was on the way here, and what he is paying for rent is $2,500 a month, but the person who bought the house paid $500. I'm like, they're not making money on that deal whatsoever.
Right.
Like it's impossible. It's a bad investment for whoever's investing on that house, unless they've got a bigger scheme. So. I don't know. I find it tough to. I have a few rental properties, and like part of me is like, one of them is very profitable just because of how low my interest rate was when I bought it, and then there's others I'm like, I wouldn't mind having my cash and maybe
Parting
upgrading.
ways.
Well, I think what I would prefer to have. So personally too, because I live in a townhouse, which I'm so sick of living in.
Getting older, those stairs must be tough.
I know it's like yes, it is. So, but no, it's more about like I have the COVID effect going on in my life where I want the big house, the big yard, like. Not that I think COVID's coming back or anything stupid like that, but just like in general, just the ability to
spread out and be comfortable.
I think I'm getting in my nesting phase.
You and Boo Boo.
I'm getting in my nesting phase, I suppose. I don't know.
So what was your question?
Yeah.
No, it was just that,
Was there
it's
a
just that
question?
the investment market.
Oh, you want to
itself
part
is-
ways with your rentals, upgrade your house, get
just-
out of the townhouse.
No, I think it's not real. I'm not necessarily saying it as there's a problem to be solved here. I think it's just an indication of the market at the moment that
Right.
it's hard to figure out. And I think that in terms of, so like you may be well equipped, but I think most people aren't well equipped to give proper financial advice. And I think that everyone's story, like for me, a big thing I try to teach all of our loan officers is like, we're not a bank of what.
Mm-hmm.
I go, not everybody's in a box. Everybody has different goals.
100%.
Yep.
Everybody has different backgrounds, different resources, different lifelines.
But also different reasons for doing things.
Of course.
Like somebody may be refinancing and you're looking at it and going, well, the rate's not the most optimal for it. But if you dug a little bit more, there's reasons behind that reason as to why they want to. And then you can go, okay, now that I understand what you're up against or what you're trying to do, let's figure this out together.
Yeah, credit card debt at 30% is not easy to pay off.
Right. But then also it's the monthly thing, right? So if you're spending a couple $1,000s paying a credit card, that's just in a wheel of circled, just constant debt that's not going down anyway. If you got rid of that gigantic bill, you could put it towards something else or just free up a little bit more space. Maybe that's the goal.
Right. Switching gears real quick, how does the BD world, the business development world, how does it translate to, because it's not real estate, but I think just in general, like what skill sets other than problem solving and relationships? So I think those are two that you could say for anything are going to be assets. Are there any specific skill sets that you've taken away from your 13 years experience in that world to making the client experience better or for buyer or seller in real estate?
First of all, thank you for thinking I've only been in business 13 years.
I thought you said 13 years in the
I
BD
was.
world.
And then I was actually an agent for fashion photographers for 10. So I've been
She's
so I've been in
multiple
sales
lives
for a
in her
long
very
time.
small
only meant
20
the
years.
business-
Yes,
the
I'm
biz
just-
dev, I thought you said 13. I thought I
Yeah,
remember
no,
that.
I have been in business for 13 years.
See, I
But I
listen,
like the
Sarah.
fact that you made me feel younger. That was it. I was just happy about that. So like all sales, it's the grind, right? It's, back in the day, it was picking up the phone and calling them and texting them and getting, your foot in the door and sort of the appointments. And then as soon as you were there, trying to find a connection, right?
Yep.
Like, what was it that we had that was a common bond that I can sort of play off of this and,
I can dig
get
into.
you to take my call again when I follow up, right? What was it? Because they see so many people. Same with you or I, like when people contact us, right? I'm only going to pay attention to someone or follow up if it's someone that I like. Everything is based on, is this a relationship I want to continue? So part of it is being on your game and knowing, your information, right? So it is about knowing the market, knowing the area that they want, right? So the same with sales, be it medical sales or whatever the case may be. But then apart from that is for them feeling that you're competent, that you're, able to really deliver and provide, the results that they need. And the only way that's going to be is not by saying them, oh, I've done this, I've done that. Nobody cares.
Show them.
You have to show them. But you have to show them in a way that it's not sort of forced on them. It's sort of like brought to them in a way, oh, I didn't realize you were able to do that kind of thing, like that aha moment.
Yep, genius.
So what are some of the out of the box ways that you're able to showcase exactly that?
I mean, I can't tell you. I'm not going to give you my secret sauce.
I can give you a very broad version of the secret
I know what
sauce.
you do.
Oh, do
I'm
you?
trying to get this Sarah
But I
to
think
help this Sarah.
Yeah. That'll be in another conversation.
wait, we're now training Simple Sarah.
I'm sorry, you didn't see that coming?
You didn't see that coming?
Go ahead.
Let me hear what
This is
some
why
stuff
she's
you do.
Simple Sarah. Love it. Here we go.
So I would say that a big piece of it is they genuinely feel that you are interested in them. And that is personal and professional. That you're listening, that you're paying attention, and that you are aware of the things that are important to them, the things that they have even mentioned that they may struggle with or wish they had, or a pain point. And taking those taking those things into consideration and then being able to kind of flip it when you have a solution, an answer, or something that can help them.
Right.
And it kind of comes out of nowhere sometimes, but being able to deliver that in a way that's very genuine, I think goes a long way. And all of a sudden they're going, she's thinking about me. She remembers our conversations. She's genuinely interested in me, my career, my life, my whatever it is that you're moving forward with. And I think that interest and that kind of attention to them goes a long way. And you're able to kind of say, I hear you, and this is what I have, without going, I hear you, this is what I have. And it's a very natural way of doing it. And I think it kind of makes their eyes go big and they go, okay. All right, I'm interested for more.
Right. And the big thing is that you have to do it in a way where they feel they came up with that decision themselves.
100%.
If you sort of tell them, well, this is what you need to do, it's almost like your children, right? It's like a no. I'm not listening to you. They get defensive. So the big thing about it is learning how to not be pushy, right? To do it in a way where it's like, I'm going to let you decide that this is the right decision for you, and I'm here for you when that is. It's like when you're dating, and it's like, I want you to want to do the dishes, kind of thing,
exactly.
Right?
More like married. Dating, everybody does the dishes because
true.
they're still in like the honeymoon phase.
Exactly. So that's.
Did you learn anything from that, Emmanuel?
No, not your dishes analogy. No, I mean, it's where my brain was going as you two were going back and forth and talking is that at the end of the day, you're in sales and you're commissioned for the most part.
Yes.
So the other person, and I guess I've never really been on the other end of it, but like I can tell in 2 seconds. I'm a salesperson. So the second someone is selling me, I'm like, all right, like you like, and the way my brain works is go to A, like you got 10 seconds, go to A to B fast.
Right.
If you're going to skirt around, then I'm like, I already gave up on you. I don't like your pitch. So, but in general, like the although what you are doing is creating relationships, it's still relationship for profit for yourselves, right?
100%.
And for your companies and for everybody else. So how do you think, mask is the wrong word because that sounds manipulative, but like, how do you think, this is for both of you guys. What do you think is the key to success where the person doesn't feel like I'm being sold? Does that make sense?
Yes. So great question. About 14 years ago, I was in a meeting at Cedar Sinai, and we were being interviewed. We were having a tutorial with somebody that was leading us in a new program, and I remember him telling me, 90% of all issues can be resolved if you manage people's expectations. And I remember taking that in.
It's another Emmanuelism.
Oh, listen.
We're gonna chat, you and I.
And so I remember I had just started in my role, and I remember taking that. Like there was a lot going on that day, and there was a lot I didn't pay attention to, but that really stuck with me. And I took on this new position, and every day that was my motto. And every time I dealt with a client, and every time I dealt with a new account, a new physician, a new whoever, it was always going to be about managing their expectations from the get-go. So whenever I meet a client, and listen, everybody knows that this is a transaction at the end of the day. I need to make money. They need to have, something done. But we need to be transparent. And to do that, you need to manage how the situation's going to go from the get-go. And I feel that because I've done that, 90%, not 100, 90% of issues have been resolved, or we've been able to talk through things because of that.
I actually think 90% of issues when we do it on our end are completely never show up. You don't end up having issues because of that. I think we did a presentation 2 hours ago, and that's exactly what I said. Setting expectations is the most important thing you can do in sales.
Yeah.
And for me, when that first phone call, which I think is the most important, when that first, you introduce a client and they get on the phone with me, the very first phone call, when I'm setting expectations and they're getting the tone, the confidence, all of it, they know they've found, comfort in what's about to happen. And even when it's not good stuff, now all of a sudden they're able to realize and see what they're able to adjust to it.
Right.
And they're able to manage their own emotions as they go
100%.
through with it.
Because it's not out of left field. It's something that they knew could happen.
Surprise.
It's a surprise for anyone, even for myself,
Yeah.
right? If something comes out of nowhere, I mean, it really throws you through a loop, right? And you don't know how to come back from
And your
that.
reaction is usually much more harsh.
Exactly.
Because it's a surprise.
So, an example, when I was taking a client last year, and everybody looks at Zillow to look at how much things are going to cost them and this and that, and they start looking at what the property taxes are, and I'm like, that's the property tax for the home that it's currently at. It's not going to be your property taxes.
Right.
And they would get angry at me, like I'm making this up. I'm like, I didn't make this up.
Okay,
this is what
not
it
my rule.
is. And they're like, but I went to an open house and the agent there told me that this is what my property taxes are going to be. I'm like, yeah, for the first year. And then it's going to adjust based on what you purchased the home at. And they looked at me like, are you for real? And I'm like, yes. And they were so grateful to me because I was honest with them. Right. And I want them to know, whereas whatever agent they went to at the open house just wanted to sell the home and was telling them, like, this is what it's going to be this year. And then, and I'm like, please don't do that. Please don't make my life more difficult than it needs to be.
Especially on new construction where they're dealing with land tax.
Oh, my God.
As opposed to the sales tax.
Well, that's why all these people end up selling after a year and two once they buy in, because they realize they can't afford the home.
Right.
Yeah.
So you talk about spreadsheet. I literally do a spreadsheet for my clients when they do new construction because I do want them to know how much that house is going to cost them
Year two,
year three. Because I don't want to hear, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me that my property tax were going to go up $20,000?
Right.
I literally can't afford this. Can you sell this? So
You're like, yes, I can, but now you're pissed.
yeah, now you're pissed and you're never going to deal with me because you think all I wanted was a commission.
Right.
So yeah, it is hard because sometimes I can talk myself out of a deal. I get that.
But I think that if with what you're doing now, like in terms of being more selective, and if you really do like a true buyer consult type concept, like when you're working with buyers and you sit down and you say, look, I want to go over all these different things. And I'm big on in a meeting, like whenever you start a meeting, like to go over exactly what we're about to talk about. And so like, here's the 3 things I'd like you to leave with today. We're going to start here, then go here, then go here. Of course, ask questions along the way. But you start your presentation, and by laying out the groundwork for what we're about to talk about, and what now including in that message at the same token, like, what questions do you have? Like, here's like, do you know how much this is going to be? Do you know how much this is? By getting them, as you said, to think it's their idea, or by getting them to realize that they don't know all the things, you're able to then actually provide a real answer. And now you're going to set yourself apart being totally different.
Right.
Right. And I think that like you and I see sales very, very similar. So Compass, is that where you're at now?
Yes.
Okay. Why Compass?
So when I left LA, I mean, the big agencies were Compass and the agency, and I knew that I wanted to be on that level. So the agency at the time didn't really have a presence in Boca Del Rey area. And I just went to Compass and I loved it. It's been the only agency I've ever been with, and it's great. I love the technology. I feel I've actually gotten more sales done because I use the Compass collections where I curate for them specific homes that I want them to see, and I add notes and I send it. So it's very interactive with my clients.
Yeah. And it's very tailored.
And it's very tailored. So it really is sort of that like, 5-star experience where I'm really creating something just for them.
And they love that.
And they do. They love that. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the age of my clients. The ones that are older are like, what is this? I don't know what I'm looking at. And the younger ones are like, totally get it. I don't want to download this app. I'm like, just deal with it. Like, just deal with it.
You can delete it as soon as we stop talking to each other.
And so they have spent a lot of money on their technology. I get a lot of insight. So it's very helpful.
I love that.
What do you foresee is the second half of 2025 in real estate?
The first half has not been so great, but I do see it picking up for sure. I think that buyers are being more comfortable right now. And so I think that they're being a little creative with their offers. And I see that a lot of people are, are trying. They're like, look, what can it hurt, right? We'll see. All we can say is no.
Yeah.
So I see it picking up. I mean, listen, this is still a premier destination where people want to be.
Yeah.
And, we're not like anywhere else in the country. There are people coming here with an obscene amount of money. Look, I grew up in New York. I lived in LA. I can tell you Palm Beach has more money than I think I've ever seen. And people are just coming here still, maybe not the way they were during COVID. People are coming here and they are not affected by the market. So, there are clients that are still spending
It's out there.
a ridiculous amount of money on homes and they don't care.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you do any kind of relocation packet or anything that you're because I know that we had talked about that earlier, but do you provide that? Like, I know you mentioned you give vendors and things like that, but what else is included in that?
Oh, so I actually created a relocation guide. And so it has a map of, because my area really is just, Boca, Delray, Palm Beach area. I probably go as far as Palm Beach Gardens. Mm-hmm. And so I have a map so it shows people where everything is. Because a lot of times people come here, they have no idea where everything is. So
is that really Miami? No.
No. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so then I'll have the top restaurants. I'll have the top golf courses. I'll have the country clubs. I'll have the proper, the private schools that are of interest. So it's something that they take away with that they have. And if they have any specific questions that they drill down, then I could send that as a spreadsheet.
I love
That's something I hand
I love how prepared you are.
I try. That's part of business development, Sarah.
It is. I know. I love it. I've learned so much today. Thank God I'm here today, Emmanuel. Geez, thank you for this class.
I'll make sure to send you a bill, Emmanuel.
No, I appreciate it. So I always tease Sarah. I'm like, Sarah, the best part and worst part for you is no matter how successful you ever get, I'm the one who created your role.
Exactly.
I'm the one who found you.
But not created me.
No, not at all.
The puppet master.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. It's one he uses too. Wow. We're really hitting them all today.
This is yes.
This is your...
This is very funny.
Yeah.
It's a female mirror.
Oh, God.
A little better looking, but you, of course. Not
I'd
me.
say so, yeah, for sure.
But, all right, well, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, any buyers, sellers, anyone that is thinking of relocating, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
They can follow me on Instagram, Sarah Sells So Fla, right?
Yeah.
And my website, which is the same, sarahsellsofla.com.
And we'll put all the contact information in the show notes.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for being a guest.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Cheers.
Okay, that's enough whining for one day. We are so happy that you could join us today on Stop Whining About Real Estate. So please, not only listen, but subscribe, follow us, download, share, and if you're feeling it, give us a 5-star review. Hey, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email stopwhining@choicemortgage.com. Thanks so much.